Hello, good afternoon. You've tuned into CNBC-TV18. You're watching Your Stocks coming live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Vinny Motiwala. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. A day where we have seen the markets managing to hold on to green as of now and picked up some bit of a pace in the last half an hour, at least for the Nifty, up almost 2/10 to 0.3% as of now in today's trading session. 23,400 is what the Nifty is managing to hold on to. So keep an eye out on that one. See the spike up that we've seen just in the last few minutes in the trading session. We've seen a run up coming in for the stocks. Now let's look at the Nifty contributors. Since we have seen that spike up coming in, we have the banking side that has been doing well. So Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, SBI among the top contributors that are coming in for the Nifty 50. Other than that, we also have Bharti Airtel, that is among the names, and IndusInd Bank also is managing to support the up move that we're seeing coming in for the markets. Let's look at the broader end of the market. That's managing to hold on to gains as well. 0.5% of gain that we're seeing coming in for the Nifty mid cap. Small cap is also managing to hold on to gains of more than 1%. There is some run up that we're seeing coming in the last few minutes. So we'll keep an eye out on whether this is going to be sustaining and continuing in the next couple of hours of trading session as well. Sectors that are not doing well today, just keep an eye out on IT, auto that are among the top drag coming in. Pharma, we have some bit of a news that came in for Lupin and Zydus as well. So some bit of a pressure that we're seeing specifically on those two stocks as well. But this is a show where we solve all the stock related queries, and to solve all those doubts today, we have our experts joining in with us. Astha Jain, Research Analyst at Securities, as well as Somil Mehta, Head of Alternate Research and Capital Market Strategy at Mirae Asset Sharekhan, to talk to us and solve all your stock-related doubts. Somil, Astha, good afternoon, and thank you so much as always for joining in with us. Somil, just a quick check in terms of the market, because we've seen that sudden spike up that we've seen coming in for the Nifty specifically. So what are the levels that we should keep an eye out on, and what are we watching out for now?
See, bias is definitely positive. We've seen great rally in last couple of weeks, and the markets have bounced back from 21,800. Now, the next target in the short to medium term outlook would be 23,600, and after that it would be 23,800. 23,800 is a very crucial hurdle. If we close above that, then the medium term outlook targets would be way above. But at this point of time, the crucial hurdle is 23,800. But definitely the short-term bias, medium-term bias remains positive. Bank Nifty looks better from here. Should outperform. The PSU banks are looking great. The next target for Bank Nifty would be 53,500, which is close to the previous swing high. So I'll be expecting Bank Nifty to outperform, and PSU banks would be my preferred picks.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Somil. PSU banks could be the preferred picks. But on that note, let's get started with the stock-related queries. The first query today we have is coming in from Prem Chauhan, who's writing to us from Kolkata. 25 shares of Tata Motors is what he's holding. Price is 500 rupees per share. Making some bit of a profit on this one, but wants to know whether he should continue to hold or look to sell this one. Astha, good afternoon, and what's your view coming in on Tata Motors, right? We've seen so much uncertainty coming in on the tariff front as well, and Tata Motors has that significant exposure at the JLR side, which people are expecting maybe could see that impact because of these issues. What is your view on Tata Motors, and what should the viewer do? Hold or sell and book that little bit of profit that they're making there?
Hi, good afternoon to both of you. I think one can hold this counter with the initial price target, which can be set at around 680 to 700 odd levels. Now, why I am saying holding for this counter? Because first of all, yes, definitely this company has exposure around 28 to 30% of their sales they derive from US. So that definitely there is a small fear on that part. But now, the situation is emerging. I think it is going on the positive side for the Tata Motors, as we have seen. And at the same time, what we are seeing is that their valuations are really at a very, very low level. If I talk about especially JLR, and in fact, when their conference call was there after the results, they have given the EBIT guidance of around 10%. So if company is able to maintain that guidance, then definitely it will give a good jump or a boost to their financials. So I would just like to wait for their results and the management commentary. Meanwhile, looking after the current market scenario, I think it's better to hold if one can take a risk. However, the cost price is only 500. So I think if one can take the risk, then definitely this is a hold counter with a price target of 680 to 700 at the initial levels.
Okay, keep an eye on those levels. Hold is the word coming in from Astha. Somil, your view coming in for Tata Motors, given that obviously we've seen that correction specifically coming in the last 6 months also for Tata Motors. Last 1 year also, the stock has not been performing that much, right? 37% down. Before any issues also, we're seeing that decline coming in for Tata Motors. What are we watching out for now in terms of levels here?
The medium-term outlook is definitely negative for Tata Motors. It has been struggling to go above 20 and 40 daily moving average for a very long time. That is a very weak sign for the stock, negative sign for the stock. Even at this point of time, when I see today it is 1% down and it has bounced back a little bit from the lows. Now, I think the last leg on the downside is still left. And how deep that would be, I'm not very sure. But I think the previous lows, which is 540 levels, I think that lows would be retested again. So this last leg for Tata Motors probably would be a little sharp. I would buy only if this stock goes above or closes above 20 and 40 daily moving average. At this point of time, Tata Motors 20 and 40 daily moving average is close to 660 levels. If it closes above that, that's the level where I'll go and buy.
Okay, that's the level that we should watch out for as well. Keep an eye out on that. Let's move on and talk about the next stock in focus that we'll highlight right now is Reliance Power. Nehal Agarwal is writing to us from Nagpur. She's holding 20,000 shares of Reliance Power. Price is 30 rupees per share. Wants to know the prospect of the company in the next 2 to 5 years and whether it is advisable to hold her investments in this stock or maybe look to switch somewhere else. Astha, your view on Reliance Power?
I think there is no need to switch to any other counter if the horizon is 2 to 3 years. However, my initial targets are at around 46 to 48 odd levels. Talking about this counter, they have got a very strong portfolio of around 5,300, operating portfolio of around 5,300 megawatt. And what we are seeing now with the focus or transition towards the renewable energy, definitely this company is well poised to show some more strong financial performance going ahead from here. So my suggestion here is to continue holding this counter with the initial price target, which can be set at around 46 to 48 odd levels. But from the 2 to 3 year time horizon, I think these targets are subject to revise towards upside.
Okay, and your view on Reliance Power as well, Somil?
This stock has been making a huge triangle pattern on the daily charts, on the weekly charts, trading above 200 daily moving average, which is a good sign for the stock. This consolidation is expected to break on the upside because the momentum indicators on the higher degree time frame are on the buy side. So I think holding on to this stock for a long-term investor is a good sign, but the lower end of this triangle is 31 levels. So if it goes below 31, that will be the time when it should exit. But at this point of time, the momentum is positive. The short-term and medium-term outlook looks positive, and I think I'll be aiming for at least 56 levels, above 56 levels.
Okay, above 56 levels is what you're watching out for. So keep an eye out on Reliance Power over there and those levels that our experts have mentioned. Let's move on to the next query for today. We have Venkat, who's writing to us from Chennai. 500 shares of South Indian Bank is what they are holding. Price is 23 rupees per share. So stock is trading around their buy price right now. Wants to know the expected target if he holds for 1 year and 3 years, and also if there's any specific reason for the stock not seeing an up move on the fundamental front as well. Firstly, I'll take it to you, Astha, on the fundamentals.
Yes, we have seen as compared to the other banks, the bank was not able to perform strongly, maybe because financial performance was not very supported. But what I'm taking right now is cue from their business update, which seems to be okay because they have shown 10% rise in their loans and advances. And in fact, their deposits have also shown good growth. Although what I have seen that in the CASA ratio, there was a mild downturn. But overall, the performance which they have shown in their business update, I think that seems to be okay. So for that reason, I think one can remain invested in this counter with the initial price target of 26 to 27. However, the business updates of other counters like private sector bank, HDFC was very strong. So if I compare it to their other peers. Maybe in the public sector bank also, some other banks like BOB is looking very strong. In fact, Bank of India is looking very strong to us. But here also our stances remain invested, since we can see this stock moving till the levels of 26 to 20.
Okay, keep an eye out on those levels over there. Somil, your view coming in on the technicals, the viewer specifically asked for a target for 1 year and 3 year. So what are you watching out for there?
As I said, banking looks, the smaller banks looks great. And from here, if I see South Indian Bank, it has taken multiple supports around 22 levels. So 22 would be my stop loss. And I think from here, the consolidation is between 22 and 28. If this consolidation breaks above 28 levels, I think the next level would be new all-time highs. But at this point of time, short-term targets would be around 28, 29 levels. And the stop loss would be around 23 or 23.50 levels.
Okay, keep an eye out on those levels over there and the stop loss as well for South Indian Bank. Let's move on to the next query, and this is coming in from Meenal Chauhan, who's writing to us from Mumbai. She's holding 60 shares of Aarti Drugs. This is at a price of 784 rupees per share. Wants to know whether to sell or stay invested in this one. Your view coming in on Aarti Drugs. Astha, what are we watching out for here on the fundamentals?
If I look after the fundamentals, the results which they have declared were not right on the expectation. They were below expectations. But now this company is making capex towards capacity expansion, etc. So that is the only silver lining which I'm right now witnessing in this counter, and that's why I suggest to hold this counter, because exiting at these levels may fetch a strong loss. So it's better to remain invested in this counter, try to exit at the higher levels, maybe at around 400, 450 or so. So right now one can remain invested in this counter.
Can remain invested in Aarti Drugs. And your view coming in on this one, Somil, because the viewer is making a very sharp loss, right? 784 is what they've purchased it at. So what should they do now? Book out of losses? What is the option that they have?
At this point of time, I think this stock has taken support at 315 multiple times, 3 times to be very specific. And it has started bouncing back now, closing about 20 daily moving average. I think in the very short term, it is looking all right. And it has broken out of an ending diagonal pattern as well in the very short term. I think I would hold on to this stock for a target of around 430 in the very short term. That is the time probably would exit this stock, because in the medium term outlook, it is trending down, low top, low bottom on in the weekly charts, on the monthly charts. The momentum indicator on the higher time frames are on the sell side. So I think 430 is where I would exit this stock. But at this point of time, in the short term, looking good.
Okay, the short term it's looking good, and keep an eye out on that exit level also that is mentioned by Somil. But on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. Viewers, don't go anywhere, because after the break, we'll be taking more of your stock related queries. So stay tuned in. Welcome back to your stocks on CNBC-TV18. Now let's move on to the next query for today. We have Sami Reddy, who's writing to us from Andhra Pradesh. He's holding 25 shares of M&M. Price is 2,675 rupees per share. Wants to know the prospect of his investments here. M&M Astha, is that more of an interesting bet for you versus what we spoke about with Tata Motors previously? What should they do with M&M, or is there anything else that you would be looking at in the auto pack?
So M&M is really looking good to us in the auto pack, and yes, as compared to Tata Motors, this stock has a better chance to move upwards. So yes, we are positive on this counter, because looking after fundamentals also, fundamentals seems to be very, very strong. Their new product launches are really helping them to show one of the strongest performance among its peer. So we are positive on this counter, and yes, one can make a buy on the lower levels as well. However, initial price target can be set at around 2850 to 2900 dollars.
Okay, keep an eye on those levels over there for M&M. Your view coming in on this one, Somil. M&M, Tata Motors, any other four-wheeler? What should the investor do right now, though?
Overall, if you see, the auto sector is not looking that great. Tata Motors has been struggling to go about 20-40 daily moving average. Even M&M now in the last couple of months, it's struggling to go above the averages. Even 200 daily moving average has been taking resistance at 200 daily moving average. I would say that it will still keep making lower top, low bottom on the weekly charts, on the monthly charts, on the higher degree. And M&M, I think the next level to watch out on the downside would be the previous swing lows around 2430 levels. And that's where my targets would be in the very short term. I would be buying the stock only if it closes about 2760, which is 200 daily moving average. And that's where I will go long on the stock. But at this point of time, in the short term, in the medium term outlook, both looks a little negative to me. And I'll be exiting this stock or going short.
Exiting the stock or going short in the short to medium term, at least that's the outlook, and Somil has mentioned those levels over there. So yes, keep an eye out on those levels before you take any trade or make any decision. Let's move on to the next query for today. We have Rajesh Sharma, who's writing to us from Noida. 50 shares of LIC is what he's holding. Price is 600 rupees per share. Wants to know the long-term story. He has a time period of 3 years. Horizon time period is what he's willing to hold to. Astha, your view coming in for LIC, what are we watching out for here? Continue, and should the viewer hold or sell and book out the profits?
So if one can take the risk, I think it's time to hold this counter with a price target of 860. And why I'm saying this, because although the investor is earning good profits on this investment. Now talking about this counter, first of all, their VNB growth of 9% seems to be very good, which they have posted in the results gone by. Apart from that, now we are liking that company's strategies pushing its product mix towards non-participating. So that seems to be very strong. In fact, now they are expanding their agency distribution base. So I think looking after all these factors, I think this company is definitely going to prove something very strong on the financial front in the coming quarters. So if one can take the risk, because right now markets have certain kind of volatility, and here the investor is already earning profit. But if one can wait patiently, then definitely remain invested in this counter with the initial price target, which can be set at around 850 to 880 odd levels.
Okay. Surely an interesting one coming in on the fundamentals. Your view on the technical, Somil, similar to what Astha is mentioning then. Should the viewer continue to hold this?
Definitely, I agree to Astha. I think it's higher tops, higher bottom formation of higher tops, higher bottom on the daily charts. Very recently, it has closed about 20 and 40 daily moving average, which is great. On the daily time frame, the momentum indicator has given a buy signal. So my targets would be similar to Astha. That will be around 870, 860 levels, where the 200 daily exponential moving average is. So that will be my target, but the stop loss should be very strict, because on the weekly charts we've seen a sharp correction as well. So stop loss should be very strict, and that would be 765.
Okay, keep an eye out on those levels over there for LIC. Let's move on to the next query for today. We have this query coming in from Neetu Shukla, who's writing to us from Bihar. She's holding 60 shares of IDFC First Bank. Price is 60 rupees per share. For the long term, does it make sense to stay invested in this one, is her query. Your view on this, Astha?
I think the kind of business update this bank has given for Q4, I think that makes one can remain invested. That makes a case for remain invested in this counter, at least for the price target of 66 to 68 on the higher side. Although my price targets are not very high, because I really need to see how they turn out to be in their Q4 numbers. But yes, with a very strong loan and advances growth of more than 20%, as well as deposit growth of more than 20%, I think on just the basis of business updates, one can remain invested in this counter for the price target of 66 to 68 at the very initial levels.
Okay, that is something to keep an eye out on for IDFC First Bank. But that was the last query for today. So thank you so much, Astha, as well as Somil, for joining in with us on the show as always and helping our viewers solve all the stock-related queries. But viewers, we'll wind down this edition of Your Stocks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you can always email us your queries and we will address them with our experts. But up next, we have Closing Bell to take you through the last hour of trade. So don't go anywhere.